Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another episode of Build Your Roots and Grow Your Branches. Today we are going to be talking all about motivation and actually how emotional energy can be used as a source for motivation. And then we're going to be talking about the advantages and disadvantages of that and actually how we can apply that into our own life to gain the maximum benefits. Okay, I'm just going to start with a little disclaimer here that it's okay to not be motivated all the time, and this is a very contentious topic because people tend to have this belief, this kind of toxic belief that they want to be happy and motivated all the time. And that is a good thing to strive for, but just know that if this were possible, we wouldn't actually even have words like motivated or unproductive, because we would just be in this normal state all the time. Those words wouldn't have any impact because we would always be happy, we would always be motivated all the time. So it's really good to strive towards those things, those beneficial aspects of our life. But at the end of the day, those terms only exist because we're not actually always feeling in that frame of mind. We're not always feeling that way, okay? So don't set yourself up for unhappiness by striving for something that's unattainable. That's where the first thing I'm going to start with here. And the problem is actually when these states of unmotivated or unproductive or laziness, they persist for a very long time and we actually get into a rut and we're unable to break through this. So basically what you need to do to get through this is you need to look at things around you and see actually where your motivation comes from. And one of the sources of motivation that I'm going to talk about today is emotional energy. And we're going to be talking about how emotional energy can be a really good thing, but how it can actually end up being a really bad thing as well. So what is emotional energy? Essentially, it's hard to explain. Other people may have come up with big terms for this concept, but this is my way of expressing it. And when I talk about emotional energy, what I'm talking about is motivation for doing certain actions, but this motivation is able to evoke very strong feelings within you. So I'll give you an example to explain what I mean. Let's say there were these two people and they're both trying to start working out at the gym more regularly to lose some weight. One of these people, let's call them person one, is working out to impress other people. That's their motivation, right? Now, it's true that this could evoke powerful feelings of insecurity within them. Maybe that's why they're doing it. But for the sake of example, let's just say it's very casual and they just want to look better in front of other people. Now, let's take another person, let's call them person two, and this person is trying to train and lose weight because maybe someone in their family requires a kidney transplant and they are a matching donor, however, they're actually too overweight to undergo the surgery. So if you think about it, person two has a much stronger emotional reason to work out. When they work out, they probably have a lot of inspiration from being able to call on that emotional energy, those feelings within them that they really have to lose this weight or someone in their family might die. Now, let me ask you this. Which one of these people is more likely to wake up on Saturday and just say, you know what, I'm not feeling like training today? You can see that actually if you compare these two people just at a very fundamental basic level, who is most likely to stay motivated and keep consistent on this habit of working out, it's probably going to be person number two. And the learning point here is the fact that emotional energy can be very beneficial because as you can see now, this person is more likely to stay focused, their motivation is very strong, they have a goal, but more importantly, they have a why behind this goal so that they can keep going. And it's this powerful source of motivation that makes emotional energy so important. Wait a minute then. If it's so good and it can give you that clear focus, a reason behind your goal, and a way of staying consistent, then why would I be making an episode on it? And didn't I say earlier that there were negatives to this? Well, here are the negatives. One of the most devastating effects of using emotional energy and relying on it all the time is it can result in a negative feedback loop of feeling like a failure. I'll explain what I mean by that. When you're trying to form a new habit or even break an old one, inevitably there will come a time when you miss a day or maybe you mess up one day, and that's absolutely fine. We're all human, we all make mistakes and we all fall off the wagon, so to speak. But if you solely rely on emotional energy as a motivation to do things, when you fail to do them or you fail to give up on certain things, it can create this cycle of negativity. Here are some examples of what I mean. You may have heard these before from people around you or even yourself, but maybe not quite realize the full extent of their meaning. I always leave my work to the last minute, so I'll never be a good student. I've been trying to quit smoking for ages, but I caved in yesterday. I'll never be free from this. I couldn't go to the gym today. I guess I'll never be fit, so I'm just going to cry and eat all this junk food. What do all these statements have in common? These are all people trying to change their habits and they're struggling. We can all relate to that. But I hope you can appreciate from the language that they used that these people are in a vicious cycle and they feel very low at the moment. There's absolutely nothing wrong with what these people are doing or the fact that they're struggling, but they are experiencing a lot of extra self-depreciation. Why? Because the emotional connection to breaking or forming a habit has become so strong that every time they fall slightly short of the mark, which we all do as humans, these powerful feelings come out now and they feel like a complete failure and they can never change. And when you think about it, forming a new habit or breaking an old one, you're up against a lot of different hurdles. You're not just facing external factors, but you're also facing internal factors such as your own neural pathways, and it's bound to happen that one day you'll slip up. Okay, so if you keep relying on this emotional energy every time that you use it to keep going, and if you keep holding on to it, then every time you slip up, you're really going to keep beating yourself up about it, and it's going to become something that's really difficult to break because it's almost like part of your identity now, and it's just going to be harder and harder to change. And this is what I'm talking about. It's this vicious cycle of people feeling like a complete failure and they feel like they have this complete inability to change. The other problem with emotional energy, and actually any kind of motivation, is you can't rely on it forever. We as humans are really finicky creatures. Our moods change all the time and motivation is no different. It comes and it goes. Now, I'm not saying that because of this you need to work yourself to death on zero motivation, but if you need to wait for motivation to do anything, you'll be waiting a very long time. Here's a question for you. How much motivation does it require for you to go and have a shower? Do you feel like a failure if you don't have one? Do you give up on hygiene altogether? And lastly, how motivated do you need to feel to brush your teeth? Chances are, unless you're severely depressed or a hygiene freak, you probably don't need a lot of motivation to do those things. They're so automatic that you don't even think about doing them. So where am I going with this? Well, how is the concept of motivational energy relevant to us, and how can we use it in our own lives if it can yield such benefit but also such negativity as well? Well, you're probably tired of hearing this, but like everything in life, it's about balance. We can all draw from the positive aspects of motivation and using emotional energy to get us started on a path to bettering our lives, or even helping us when we feel like quitting. But if we hold on to it for too long, it can be extremely draining, and in the long term, our motivation fluctuates anyway, so we should learn to use it only when it's really necessary, when we really just need to start something after we've been putting it off for such a long time, or when we really feel like giving up and throwing in the towel, because that's when it's most powerful. And we should try to develop our constructive habit to the point where they're so automatic and so instinctive that it's like taking a shower or even breathing to us. I'll leave you with this quote that's always stuck with me. Motivation gets you started, but discipline is what keeps you going. Jim Ryan. Thank you so much for listening. I really hope you enjoyed this episode. If you have any feedback, please don't hesitate to get in touch with me. And also, I'd really appreciate it if you could follow or subscribe to this on whatever platform that you're on and share this with anyone who you think it might help. If you enjoyed this, be sure to check out all my other works and follow me for updates on Instagram or on my Linktree. Thank you very much.